Hello, everyone. How are you? My name is Pablo Arias, and this is the Expat Community Podcast. I'm the founder of International Relocation Partner. And today with me, I have Jonathan Clay. Jonathan has been in the real estate industry in Panama for the longest. And we have a really interesting topic that I'm really, really worried about. And I want you guys to be aware of this. I think people should be careful, very, very careful when it comes to real estate. I've been posting in my Instagram, Facebook, in my Facebook groups in Costa Rica, Mexico, and Panama. And some of my friends also have Facebook groups. We have been posting. I wish I can show you this. This kind of like a comment here. Here, by the way, here. I'm able to find it. Hey, Jonathan, you can say hi while I'm looking for this.
Hey, everybody.
So, um, this is Panama City expats, friend of mine, Mike Kelly. By the way, I was just talking to him about an hour ago. Uh, I posted this, and I've been posting some of these things like it's a daily motivational quote. And I thought about real estate. I'm not in the real estate industry. I don't care if you buy anything in Panama. I don't care if you buy anything in Costa Rica. Like I don't care. I think you should be careful. It's not. I don't have no interest. And even made a video. Next day, I made a video saying a real estate agent is not your friend because they are on a payroll, right? They have a commission, and even have people in the real estate field in Costa Rica and Mexico. One of them even calling me names. You know, who am I? An entitled son of a gun. For posting about real estate. Like once again, I really don't care. But this is something that a lot of my customers, I ship stuff for them, and they, they make bad real estate investments. One of them, I personally know somebody that put $4 million in a property overlooking the ocean in Guanacaste, Costa Rica, in another very popular expat location. And it turns out that he lost this investment. Kind of like he cannot sell it, he cannot do anything. He never got water on the property, so he cannot do anything. He built a lot of infrastructure on this thing without having the right documentation to get water, which is a big deal in Costa Rica. Hey, Jonathan, say hi. Let's talk about this a little bit. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Pablo, for having me. Nice to see you and speak with you again. And yeah, this is a very important topic. So I'm glad that we have the opportunity today to chat about it a little bit. So I'm Jonathan Clay. I'm the co-founder of Panama Sovereign Realty. We have offices in Pedasí, Panama, and also in Panama City in Casco Viejo. And there you see our website scrolling a bit on the screen. You can go to it and find out a little bit more about us and what we do. That's Ted Tennis, my business partner and other co-founder. And so we both feel that this is an important topic. And so we just ready to dig in with you. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think this is very important. You just mentioned I met Ted. I actually visited him a couple of years ago. I went to his place in Pedasí. You guys are more focused on like my initial impression is you guys are more focused on Pedasí, and but now you guys kind of cover the entire country, which is amazing that you guys were able to do. And I have been referred to you through different sources, like to Mike Kelly, to the guys retiring Costa Rica, brought an Oscar, a lot of different contacts within the same industry, relocation industry in general, has named your guys' firm. So I'm really happy to have you here and talk about this. So the first question I got is, what is it that we can do to prevent this? Is there a way? And you mentioned something on these comments that I think is important.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of, how can expats verify if an agent is licensed in Panama? It's very simple, actually. It's very simple. There's a website that lists all of the licensed agents and agencies in Panama, and it's publicly available. Anybody can go and search the licensed agents and agencies. There you have it up on the screen. Corredores de bienes raíces idóneos. Idóneos means licensed, certified, legally able to execute a specific profession. So you go to this page that you have up there now, and you can scroll through it manually one by one, looking for the agent or agency in particular. Or the easiest way is to simply either click Control or Command F, depending on what type of computer
yeah, all
you're
right.
using, for
On the
search.
PDF.
Yeah, you can search the PDF and you type in the name. So if you go back to that screen of
Let me go back.
Idóneos Naturales, yeah, and hit Control F.
And should I look for you for
if it shows that on the screen? Yeah, you can look for me, or you can look for SpongeBob SquarePants. And obviously,
so
SpongeBob
this is that
doesn't
you
have his
here?
license. Yeah, exactly.
So license 5,250. Is this the license number,
And right
or is
next
this the
to the
agent
license,
number?
that's the license number of the agent, and right next to it shows the validity of the license. So that you have to renew it. You have to pay a fianza every year, and that indicates that the fianza is either current or not. So you can search any license number to see who the agent is, or you can search any name to see if they have a license number. And if you go back to the previous screen,
all right,
the link just above that was for idóneos jurídicos, which is for agencies.
So the companies that are registered.
Companies.
One of the things, I'm going to stop sharing for a sec. One of the things I have to say is this website is in Spanish. So a lot of the people that want to invest in Panama, they don't speak Spanish. So it's kind of like the challenge. But at least you guys see it's there, and you can download the PDF and look for the name of your potential agent. But it would be interesting to have a COVIR or the Panamanian authorities to also provide this information in English. It's not really hard to do if they wanted to do it. But it's one of those things that you have to deal as an expat. You're going into a new country, everything is in Spanish. What do I do? It's part of it. Now, I have another question here. It's important. It's not about getting the license, or if somebody has a certification or not. But I think a lot of people do not realize it's not just the sticker on whatever listing. There is more to it, and it's important that people to realize this. Can you give me like some insight of this in Panama? Like I do Costa Rica, Panama, Mexico, Portugal, and Spain. So each country is different. And once again, I'm not a real estate person. So coming from you, it's important for my clients.
Right. Well, typically, as far as purchasing real estate in Panama goes, when we talk about costs to the buyer or to the seller, typically we're talking about closing costs, right? How much is it going to cost the buyer or the seller to close a real estate transaction in Panama? So beyond the purchase price, the sale price of the real estate. Now, on the buyer side, typically the closing costs are, number one, their own legal fees, okay? And those can vary depending on the type of transaction, the complexity of the transaction, the documentation involved, etc. There's a table of legal fees for each service that attorneys provide. And so again, they're going to vary, but figure on average in general 1%, maybe 1.5% of the transaction value, just to give sort of a basic estimate. So buyer side closing costs, their own legal fees, notary and public registry fees to notarize and register at the public registry any of the closing documents that need to be notarized and registered. Typically, those costs also fall onto the buyer side. Again, those costs can vary, but in general, on average, we're talking about a few to several $100s. It's not
it's not a percentage.
Large cost typically. It varies, and it's it's not so yeah, we can't really put a percentage on it. I wouldn't do that. I would just say a few hundred to several $100s. um, and also due diligence. So when you're a buyer, when you're buying a property, you're going to want to work with an attorney, with a Panamanian attorney. We always recommend that buyers work with attorneys to go through not only the contract revision and drafting, but also the due diligence of the property. And the due diligence is going to entail, depending on the property, but the in general, you're going to want to look at the property title to confirm ownership. You're going to want to look at the property title to confirm that there's no liens, encumbrances. All of this is also public information found in the public registry. And your attorney will go through these systems to conduct the due diligence on your behalf. And then if you're buying, for example, a piece of land versus a house versus a condominium, you're going to want to inspect the property as well. When it comes down to a piece of land, maybe you want to hire a surveyor to confirm the property boundaries, to make sure that what you're buying is what you think you're buying, right? The fence is not always the property line. It's very easy to think and be fooled that the fence line is the property line, but it's not always the case. So you want to hire a surveyor probably to confirm the property boundaries. In the case of a home or a condo, maybe you want to hire a building inspector to inspect the construction, the plumbing, the electrical, the foundation. Make sure that there's no hidden defects that you're going to inherit once you take possession of the property. So those sorts of things are part of the buyer's due diligence, and those are part of what the buyer has to expect to pay for. And again, those costs will vary as well. You know, a surveyor might charge $300 to confirm the property boundaries on a quarter-acre lot, but they may charge $3,000 to confirm the property boundaries on a 10-hectare parcel. So it depends. Same with building and homes, right? It's going to depend on the size of the home and the location as well, because in remote locations there might be an additional cost. But so those three things essentially are the buyer side closing costs. We've got their own attorney fees, the notary and public registry fees, and then any costs associated with the due diligence on the property. Okay, that's it.
So it's interesting to make this point. One interesting point is, you know, if you are coming from the United States, maybe Canada, maybe many other countries, you're used to, as part of the transaction, it is mandatory in many states, in many places, not in Latin America, but this is mandatory to have a property inspector. It's mandatory to have a real estate attorney that checks on this paperwork in many states, but this is not mandatory in Panama. So you are on your own. That's basically it. You are on your own. In your estate,
you're on your own.
Texas, the state of Texas, or whatever it might be, Florida, whatever, it forces you to hire a property inspector. They're going to charge you maybe $300 or $800, or depending on the size of the property, and then you get some sort of a protection. But in Panama, you are on your own, so you have to be careful and think about these things. And kind of like a shady, kind of like an iffy real estate guy, kind of like the taxi driver that wants to sell you his cousin piece of property. It's not gonna bring no inspector. It's your own. On your own. Last question before we close.
Well,
go
really quickly on that point, I'm shocked sometimes when I hear buyers, clients, people looking at property. They might be looking with other realtors, and they tell me, I was told that property inspections aren't done in Panama. We don't do home inspections here. And I'm like, that's not the case at all. In fact, it's something that we always recommend, you know. And it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had an offer accepted on a property. We came to an agreement on terms, and we urged, as we always do, the buyer to get a home inspection done. Well, this home inspection brought back some issues that were not apparent, you know, with the roof, on top of the roof. Until you get up on the roof, you don't know how the roof is really. And the buyer decided that the cost of the repairs were too much, and we weren't able to bridge the gap between the buyer and the seller at that point, and so the deal fell apart. And that's just how it is. It's not like, we're going to try and pull the goalie, so to speak, on a property inspection report just to get the deal done. That's not at all how we operate. But to hear people say that things are or are not a specific way in Panama, that's completely the opposite of reality. Sometimes it's just amazing. So again, when you work with licensed professionals,
it's mandatory. You
be
have
confident.
To be, yeah.
We're bound by a code of ethics, right? Number one, professional ethics, and just being good people. Number two. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there, that inspections are commonplace, and
I'm getting a lot of questions like on the screen. This is John Miller. Like we talked to him many times. He's thinking Costa Rica versus Panama. In my last conversation with him as one of my customers, it's interesting. He's asking questions, but I'm gonna say, John, I think this is more a question for like for a immigration attorney, right? This is not something you might be aware of. What is the current minimum investment to be an investor in Panama? Are you aware of it, Clay? Jonathan?
Yeah. This is for the qualified investor visa. They're asking about, can they deposit $300,000 for a future real estate purchase? Not for the qualified investor, unfortunately. You can apply for the qualified investor visa with a pre-construction promissory contract. So if the unit or the building or the home is not built yet, you have to demonstrate first that you've deposited $300,000 towards that purchase, right? And then you get certifications from the builder or the developer that you then can submit with your residency application. But for example, you can't deposit that into a bank for a future real estate purchase and apply for the visa. But again, those sorts of questions, definitely direct them to an immigration attorney for the final word.
Amazing. And John, we're happy to help connect with a couple of good guys in Panama. By the way, I work with everyone. I work with all of the real estate people that I know is legit, have good reputation, and I also have lots of options for immigration attorneys. And I do the same thing in every country and every market I'm in. Anyway, tell me a little bit about investment in Panama. Our last few couple of minutes, I want to talk about this. What do you see Panama going on? I can tell you my personal impression after the new, the last elections, the entire country has been just a lot more active. There's a lot more people requesting international shipping quotes. So people are asking me, and I have also the feeling that people are just waiting to see what's going to happen in November the 5th with the U.S. elections to finally pull the trigger. And I think my personal impression is I think Panama is going to do very, very well in the next few years. But just tell me what's your feedback.
Yeah,
and once again,
I agree.
Go ahead.
No, I tend to agree with you, Pablo. The sort of the sentiment on the street here in Panama with the new administration is very hopeful, very encouraged. I get the sense that most people are pleased with the Molino administration so far, and it's just a feeling, it's a vibe on the street that is very positive and encouraging. There's lots of activity in the market right now. There's lots of new projects being offered in Panama City as well as throughout the country in terms of real estate projects and infrastructure projects as well. There's exciting stuff happening in Panama. So the best places to invest, I mean, of course, Panama City, the popular areas tend to be the beaches, Coronado, Gorgona, Pedasí, Bocas del Toro, and then you have the mountain regions as well that continue to be very popular for expats, tourists, and Panamanians as well. Boquete, El Valle. So it just depends what the investor is looking for. Are they looking for returns? Are they looking for rental potential? Are they looking for lifestyle? Do they want to use the property as well? And then it comes down to where they want to be when they do that.
Thank you so much. I think our time is up. I have put your information in writing. So if you scroll down on the to the text box of this, either in YouTube or in my Facebook, you can have links to Jonathan website. His Google Business Reviews, by the way, is like 5-star across the board. So you have his information. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And we said like 7 minutes, but it's almost like what 20 minutes. So it's time to go.
Yeah, and it could go for another 2 hours, I'm sure. But thank you, Pablo. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.